All right. So we all grew up, with this idea that brushing and flossing are like the cornerstones of good oral health, right?
Right.
But what if I told you about this Inuit woman, right?
Okay.
She lived to be 51 and she had like amazing teeth.
Wow.
But get this, she never brushed, flossed, or even saw a dentist.
Really? Never.
Never. Makes you think, right? Like, what if there's more to this whole dental health thing than we realized?
It's a pretty striking example.
Right. It is. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into today.
Okay.
We've got this super interesting audio transcript from this medical researcher named John Ferman.
Okay.
And we've also got some scientific studies on oral health that we can kind of like reference.
Yeah.
Our mission today is to really like unpack this audio and see, is there a totally different way to think about how we can get and keep healthy teeth and gums?
I'm ready.
Okay, so like picture this, right? Perfect teeth with zero effort. That's what this audio is all about. The audio talks about how like these Inuit people, and maybe even the Mayans, they had great teeth without doing any of the stuff we think is
Interesting.
And it wasn't because they were like avoiding sugar or processed foods either.
Right. The usual suspects.
Exactly. So it kind of makes you rethink everything you thought you knew.
Yeah, it challenges the typical narrative for sure.
Totally. So how could entire communities have such good teeth without doing all the things we think are so important?
It is a bit of a puzzle, isn't it?
It is. It's like a dental mystery.
It really makes you think there must be other factors at play.
Right. Like, what are we missing?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the big ideas in this audio is this concept of a bioshield.
Bioshield.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
So it's like this invisible mineral layer that's supposed to protect our teeth.
Okay.
And the idea is that for people with dental problems, this shield is kind of messed up or gone.
I see.
So no matter how much they brush and floss, they're kind of fighting an uphill battle. Is there like actual science behind this bioshield idea, or is it like a newer theory?
Well, the way we understand tooth enamel, it does involve like this hard mineralized outer layer.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's for protection. It's made mostly of hydroxyapalate.
Okay.
So when this audio mentions this bioshield, it seems to be talking about this enamel layer and, maybe how it interacts with saliva and the bacteria in our mouth.
Oh, interesting.
So the term itself might be new, but this idea that our teeth have a natural protective barrier.
Yeah.
That's pretty established.
Okay, so the audio goes on to say that this barrier can be damaged, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and here's where things get a little controversial.
Okay.
The audio is like super critical of fluoride.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it straight up calls it an industrial waste product. And it even brings up that FDA warning on toothpaste about accidentally swallowing it.
Wow.
And then it talks about the study from NYU in 2020.
Okay.
They found a link between fluoride and tooth discoloration and like weaker enamel.
So that would mean a higher risk of cavities then.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the opposite of what we've always been told about fluoride.
That's pretty different from what most people have heard their whole lives.
Right. It's kind of a big deal.
It is important to remember that with fluoride,
Yeah.
Individual studies can sometimes have different findings.
Okay.
But the scientific community as a whole
Yeah.
has looked at decades of research. And the consensus is that fluoride actually helps prevent cavities.
Oh, okay.
When it's used correctly, of course.
Right, of course.
And we know that fluoride works because it strengthens our enamel.
Okay.
And it makes it more resistant to like the acid attacks from bacteria.
Oh, that makes
But to really understand what that 2020 NYU study means, we would need to dig into like their methods and how it compares to all the other research out there.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And about that FDA warning, that's mainly about young kids swallowing too much toothpaste.
Okay.
Like it could be toxic in large amounts.
Right.
But if you're using fluoride toothpaste as directed, it's not the same thing.
Gotcha. Okay, so the audio keeps going with its like unconventional idea.
Yeah.
It says cavities are rare in nature and that wild animals have good teeth even though they don't brush or anything.
Interesting.
It even says that brushing too much might actually be bad for you.
Really?
Yeah, like it could strip away that bioshield and do more harm than good.
Wow. So less is more.
That's what the audio seems to be suggesting.
So like, what's the evidence for that? Is there anything in the audio that supports this idea that brushing can actually hurt our teeth?
So the audio compares us to wild animals, saying that they naturally have good oral health.
Right.
But their diets are super different from ours.
Yeah, way less processed stuff.
Right. Like they're not eating sugary snacks and stuff. So maybe that's why they don't get as many cavities.
Could be.
And yeah, some dentists say that if you brush too hard, you can damage your enamel. That usually happens over many years.
Right. Yeah. And dentists are more worried about people not brushing enough than brushing too much.
Okay, that makes sense.
If you're using the right technique with a soft bristled brush, you shouldn't really wear away your enamel just by brushing twice a day.
Got it. So if brushing and flossing aren't the whole story, like the audio says, what else is going on? Right. Well, the audio talks about the oral microbiome, which is like all the bacteria that live in our mouth.
Oh, right.
Yep. Our mouths are like a whole ecosystem.
It is amazing how much life is in there.
It's like the second most diverse microbiome after our gut.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And the theory is that if you have too many of the bad bacteria, that's what causes a lot of dental problems.
So it's all about balance then.
Exactly. Like having enough of the good bacteria to keep the bad guys in check.
So the audio is saying that standard cleaning might not be enough.
Right.
And that we should also focus on this bioshield concept, which is influenced by all these tiny organisms living in our mouths.
Exactly. It's like a whole new way of thinking about oral health.
It's like a whole microscopic world in there.
I know, it's kind of wild.
Yeah.
So the audio talks about how our modern lifestyles might be messing with the balance of bacteria in our mouth.
Okay, how so?
Well, it talks about antibiotics.
Oh, right.
We use them so much.
Yeah.
And they're even in some of our food.
And antibiotics kill both good and bad bacteria.
Exactly. So they can really disrupt the balance in our mouths.
It makes sense when you think about it that way.
Right. It's like we're wiping out the good guys along with the bad guys.
That's a good point.
So the audio asks us a really interesting question.
What's that?
Could restoring the good bacteria, like the probiotics,
oh, interesting,
be the key to rebuilding that bioshield and getting healthier teeth and gum?
I like that idea. Instead of just trying to kill all the bacteria,
yeah,
what if we could add more of the good ones?
Exactly. It's like a more holistic approach.
Yeah, exactly.
So the audio then focuses on specific types of probiotics that it claims can help build this bioshield.
Okay, let's hear about them.
First up is Lactobacillus salivarius.
Okay.
It's also called L. salivarius.
Okay.
And it's already in our saliva naturally.
Oh, cool.
And it's supposed to do all sorts of good stuff.
Like what?
Like stopping bad bacteria from spreading around, improving breath, making your gums healthier, reducing streptococcus levels.
Wow, that's a lot.
It even helps with gum pockets and that candida fungus.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's like a superhero probiotic.
So it sounds like they're saying that instead of just focusing on what we're doing, like brushing and flossing,
right,
we could actually be adding to our oral microbiome with these beneficial bacteria.
Exactly.
And that would be like promoting a healthier ecosystem in our mouths.
Yep, that's the idea.
That actually aligns with what a lot of people are saying these days about probiotics.
Right.
It's not just for gut health anymore.
Yeah, probiotics are having a moment.
They really are. So what's interesting here is that the audio is talking about very specific bacteria.
Right.
Like not just lactobacillus in general, but Lactobacillus salivarius.
Right.
And research does show that different lactobacillus species, including salivarius, can be helpful in our mouth.
Okay.
Some studies have looked at how they can change the oral microbiome and reduce the inflammation that's linked to gum disease.
Oh, wow.
And they can even stop certain bad bacteria from growing.
That's amazing.
But it's important to note that the benefits can vary depending on the specific strain of bacteria, the dose, and even the person.
That makes sense.
It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Right. Okay, so the next probiotic they talk about is Lactobacillus paracasei.
Okay.
Or Laricus.
Laricus.
Yeah. Supposed to protect against streptococcus bacteria.
And those are the ones that make the acid that harms our enamel.
Right. Exactly. And there was even a study where they found that this strain reduced streptococcus in saliva and lowered the risk of cavities in young people.
That's pretty impressive.
I know, right? Like, imagine if we could prevent cavities with probiotics.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That would change everything.
Yeah.
So Streptococcus mutans is a well-known culprit in tooth decay. It's a major acid producer in plaque.
Yeah, so it makes sense to target it.
Right, and some scientists have actually been looking into whether Lactobacillus paracasei can interfere with Streptococcus mutans.
Interesting.
Like maybe reduce its numbers or make it less active.
I see.
And there's research going on right now to see if specific probiotics can help prevent cavities in kids.
So that's promising.
Yeah, it's definitely something to watch. All right, then there's Bifidobacterium lactis, also known as B. lactis, B104.
B104, got it.
This one is supposed to help reduce plaque and gum bleeding.
Okay.
And it can even stop Porphyromonas gingivalis from sticking to your teeth.
And Porphyromonas gingivalis, that's a bad one, right?
Yeah, it's a major player in gingivitis.
Oof, I don't want that.
And this probiotic is supposed to help with gum pocket depth and inflammation, too.
Especially for people with chronic gum disease.
Exactly.
Bifidobacterium lactis.
Yeah.
That one's actually found in our gut and our mouth.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And some strains of it have been studied, and they might actually be able to modulate the oral microbiome.
Wow.
and they have anti-inflammatory properties.
Which is good for gum disease, right?
Exactly. So researchers are looking for ways to stop Porphyromonas gingivalis from growing and sticking to our teeth.
Makes sense. Okay, and last but not least, we have Lactobacillus reuteri.
But
they also call it Elroy or lawyer in the audio.
So many names.
I know, right?
So what's this one all about?
Well, it's supposed to be effective against a bunch of harmful mouth bacteria, including Streptococcus.
So it's kind of like an all-rounder.
Yeah, and it can even break down plaque below the gum line.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
I know, right? Like getting into those hard-to-reach places.
Definitely.
Where the trouble often starts.
Yeah.
Lactobacillus reuteri has been studied a lot when it comes to oral health.
Interesting.
And researchers have found that it can make these antimicrobial substances that can actually stop various oral pathogens from growing.
Wow.
Including Streptococcus species.
So it's like a natural defense.
Exactly. And they're also looking at how it affects the plaque below the gum line. And how it impacts the inflammation in our gum.
It sounds like this one has a lot of potential.
Yeah, it seems to be a pretty powerful probiotic. So the basic idea here is that all these good bacteria, they work together. Kind of like a team.
I like that analogy.
To build and maintain that protective bioshield, that mineral layer that protects our teeth and gums.
So it's not just about one type of bacteria, but having a whole diverse team of them.
Exactly. And remember how we talked about the Inuit people having such good teeth?
Yeah.
Well, the audio suggests that their diet might have played a role.
Okay, how so?
It talks about tricalcium phosphate.
What's that?
It's a key mineral in that bioshield.
Okay.
And the audio says that the Inuit people might have gotten a lot of it from things like caribou antler soup.
Interesting.
So their traditional foods could have actually helped build up that protective layer.
So the idea is that different probiotics can work together.
Yep.
And that makes sense because different bacteria can do different things.
Right.
They can contribute different beneficial activities to the oral ecosystem.
Exactly. And tricalcium phosphate is a source of calcium and phosphorus,
which are super important for healthy teeth.
Exactly.
I mean, we all know calcium is good for bones.
Right.
And our teeth are technically bones.
They are. It's all connected. So this connection between the Inuit diet and their dental health, it's a really cool idea.
It is. It suggests that what we eat can have a big impact on our teeth.
Totally. But of course, their overall lifestyle probably played a role too.
Right, like how much they moved around.
Exactly, their environment, all of that.
All those factors contribute to overall health.
For sure. And this all leads to the product that the audio is really focused on,
which is
Predentix.
Predentix.
It's a lozenge that's designed to deliver those specific probiotic strains directly into your mouth.
Interesting.
So they can mix with your saliva and bypass that stomach acid. Yeah. And it also has natural strawberry and peppermint extracts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And a natural sweetener, too.
Sounds tasty.
It's supposed to purify your tongue and gum. Build up that dental shield and give you stronger, brighter teeth, healthier gums, and fresher breath.
So they're not just putting probiotics in there. They're adding other ingredients for extra benefits.
Exactly. It's like a multi-pronged approach.
I like that.
And delivering probiotics through a lozenge that dissolves in your mouth.
Yeah.
That's a pretty common way to get them to work in your mouth.
Right, because it gives them more time to actually interact with the bacteria in your mouth.
Exactly. And the strawberry extract, it has malic acid, which is sometimes used for like gentle whitening.
Oh, cool.
And peppermint is great for reducing inflammation and freshening breath.
Of course.
So it's like they're trying to address multiple things at once.
It's a comprehensive approach.
Yeah. And the audio mentions that some people have even reported benefits beyond their mouth.
Really? Like what?
Like improvements with their sinuses and allergies, healthier hair, and even younger looking skin.
That's pretty impressive.
It's kind of like a whole body transformation just from improving oral health.
So it's interesting that they're mentioning these wider benefits.
Yeah.
Because it is true that the oral microbiome can impact our overall health in different ways.
Right.
But to say for sure that these probiotics can help with things like allergies and skin health, you'd really need some solid scientific research.
Right. Testimonials are interesting.
Yeah, they are.
But they're not the same as like a controlled study.
Exactly. We need more evidence to back up those claims.
Okay, so it's important for you listening to know that the source material we've been looking at, it does include some scientific references. But it seems like they're more about holistic dental care in general. Not specifically about this Predentix blend.
Got it.
They mention some journals and topics like bifidobacterium and gum disease, Lactobacillus reuteri, and how it can change the oral bacteria, and Lactobacillus paracasi and its effects on the bacteria bacteria that cause cavities.
So there's definitely research happening in this field.
Absolutely. There's a lot of interest in probiotics and oral health.
Right, so the audio is super focused on this one product.
Yeah.
But the science that they're citing is actually much broader.
Exactly. It's like they're using the research to support their product.
Okay.
But the research itself is looking at a wider range of things.
I see.
So it's important to keep that in mind.
Right. We need to look at the bigger picture.
Exactly. And the fact that there's all this research happening,
yeah,
it does show that the oral microbiome is a big deal when it comes to dental health.
Absolutely. Scientists are really starting to pay attention to it.
So to sum it all up, the audio is basically saying that maybe the key to really healthy teeth and gums isn't just about brushing and flossing. It's about creating a balanced and thriving oral microbiome.
By using specific probiotics.
Exactly. And making sure we're getting the right minerals.
It's a pretty different way of thinking about things.
It really is. It's like a paradigm shift.
So instead of just fighting the bad bacteria, we should be actively promoting the good bacteria.
Exactly. And giving them what they need to flourish.
Yeah, like creating a whole ecosystem in our mouth.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is. It makes you realize how much we still don't know.
Totally. So what do you think about all of this?
I'm definitely intrigued.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if maybe we've been focusing too much on just cleaning our teeth.
Yeah.
And not enough on actually creating a healthy environment in our mouth.
Right. It's like we've been trying to scrub away the problem.
Exactly.
Instead of addressing the root cause.
It's a really interesting perspective.
It is. And it makes you think about your own dental health journey, right?
For sure.
Like maybe you've been brushing and flossing religiously.
Yeah.
But you're still having problems.
Right.
This deep dive definitely gives you something to think about.
It does.
Yeah.
It makes you question everything you thought you knew.
Exactly. So we've learned a lot today about this whole idea of a natural bioshield.
Yeah.
And the crucial role of the oral microbiome.
The whole new world in there.
I know. It's amazing. And it leaves you wondering, could the secret to lifelong dental health actually be less about all the scrubbing and more about cultivating a healthy and vibrant oral ecosystem?
That's a great question.
It is. It's something to ponder.
Definitely.
And maybe even experiment with.
For sure. We've got a lot to think about.
We do. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been fascinating.
Until next time, keep those oral microbiomes happy and healthy.
And don't forget to floss.
Or maybe.